there are at least 8 ways to launch PowerPoint or any Microsoft product. Do you know them all? And more importantly, do you need to know them all? I guarantee you at least 2 or 3 of these techniques may improve your daily productivity, but only if you're working on a Windows computer. If you're working on a Mac, you may want to skip this video. So let's find out and go power up. Number 1, the keyboard. This is my favorite way because I typically work on the keyboard all the time. Let's see how this is going to work. What you're going to do is you're going to hit the Windows key on your keyboard and then just start typing away the name of the program. In our case, POW for PowerPoint, and it shows up at the top of the list. Once it's identified a unique item, we hit enter and bingo, the software fires up. This is my favorite way because, as I say, I work on the keyboard all the time. I don't have to take my hand off, Windows key, type the first letters of the program, and off we go. The second technique is a similar technique to our previous keyboard, but we're now going to do a combo use of the mouse and the keyboard. If I've got my mouse in my hand, I go ahead and use this technique as a way to go. What we'll do is we'll click on the Windows icon, or if you see it, a search bar. And what you can do there is once again, type in the first letters of your software, POW, and PowerPoint shows up because it's unique. I hit enter and off we go. It is that simple. This is probably one of my top 2 or 3 methods that I use if I have my hands already on the mouse. Number 3, this is kind of a kickback to the old-fashioned way of using Windows. That is all mouse-centric. You're going to click on the Windows icon, and what you'll then do is start to search through the list. On my particular case, I've got lots of programs, so I need to scroll. I use the mouse scroll. Eventually, I get down to the P's. I'll find PowerPoint, and once I find PowerPoint, I can click it and launch it. Simple enough. It works. And I actually use it if I'm not sure what the name is, so I can't type it in, or if I have a bunch of programs that kind of start with the same name, but is a little laborious to get through. Which brings us to number 4, which is actually a speeded up version of number 3, in that we're going to use a shortcut of knowing the alphabet of our programs. Here's what I mean. We're going to go once again down to the bottom. We'll click the little icon. Now, instead of scrolling through it, we'll click one of the letters, any letter. Then you can click P in our case for PowerPoint. You'll see PowerPoint and you can launch it. So it's a speed way of scrolling through a long list. It works. And once again, I do have some software programs that begin with the same vendor name, so the typing them out doesn't work as well. I can easily search through my list by just clicking on the alphabet letter. Number 5 is another one of my favorites. It works if you happen to have the file directory system open and you're searching for a very specific file that you want to run. What's going to happen is that you're going to locate the data file that you want to work with, double click on it, and the associated program is going to launch. In this case here, we're going to search through my folder for some of my tutorials. We'll look through PowerPoint. I'll gather that I have subfolders. I'll click on one of the subfolders. I'll find the file that I want to work with, and I double click on it, and bingo, PowerPoint not only launches, but it launches with this specific program. This is one of my top 3 choices if I'm looking for a very specific file. Sometimes I have a variety of different projects with different named versions. And so here I can locate the specific data file and save the trouble of launching PowerPoint and then finding the file. It's a quick way to get running. Number 6 and 7 are productivity tips. Basically, what we want to do is find some of our most commonly used software and put them a click or 2 away. But before we can do that, we need to understand some of the naming conventions that Windows uses. For example, the first one down here is the taskbar. It's the very bottom of your screen. The next item to understand is something called the app list. We've actually been using this as we've scrolled up and down. I've just never called it the app list, but that's the Windows official name. The next item is the Start menu, which is on the right side of the screen, that houses a variety of software programs that are just a click away with an icon as opposed to scrolling up and down through the app list. What we're going to do is learn how to take a specific app. In our case, we're working with PowerPoint, and we're going to add it to the Start menu, and we'll also add it to the taskbar and see which we prefer to work with. Let's go ahead and get started. Number 6, pinning to the Start menu. By default, many of your programs may already be there. So in this particular example, I'm going to demonstrate one, how to use the Start menu, then how to take an icon off and how to put it back on again. So let's go. We're going to see that when we click on the Windows icon, we're on the right side, we find PowerPoint already installed on our Start menu. Click it and off we go. Let's do this again though. I'm going to have us take it off the Start menu. I'm going to click on it. I'll go up to it, right click on it, and then we're going to go ahead and remove it from the Start menu. Now we're going to be able to add it back in. So we can go up to find PowerPoint, right click on it, and tell it to pin to start. You may on some computers have to choose more and then go to pin to start. And in this situation, PowerPoint's now there and it's off and running with just a single click once you get to the Start menu. I used to love this technique. And the reason why is that the Start menu can be rearranged. You can group things together. You can move them up and down. You can change the size of the icons, which goes beyond this particular tutorial. But eventually I found that I use one of the other 3 techniques much more often, including number 7. This is the fastest of them all. We're going to do a similar thing, but in this case, instead of adding it to the Start menu, I'm going to have us add it to the taskbar and find that it's just going to be a click away. Watch how we do this. We're going to once again locate PowerPoint, or it could be any Windows program. Once we locate it, we'll right click on it, and we're then going to say pin to taskbar. And when we do that, it's going to show up on the bottom of the screen where our taskbar is. And you'll now see that you've got PowerPoint loaded there, in addition to a variety of other software programs that I use all the time. In fact, I have 4 or 5 programs that I use daily. In fact, multiple times throughout the day. And I find that by putting it down on my taskbar, it is just a single click away and off I go. This is my favorite way for my most used software programs. Number 8, though, is my least favorite way. It's using the Cortana voice technique to launch applications. It can work, but it requires a fair amount of configuration to make sure that your microphone's set up, your computer's set up, and you've got Cortana properly configured. It can be done, but once you've done it, it is pretty slick. Let's try it out. Hey, Cortana, open PowerPoint.
Okay, I'll open PowerPoint.
So it's cool, but I'm not sure I like my computer listening to me all the time. However, if you use Windows to do dictation, might as well use it as a way to launch your applications. With that, you've now seen all 8 ways. If this video was helpful, go ahead and like it. Likes encourages me to make more free videos for you. And please subscribe to our channel because that encourages us to grow and create additional content. If you like this and you want to leave a comment below, go ahead and do so. And if you do all these techniques or you know an additional technique, because we didn't cover shortcuts on desktops, add them to the comments below. Share this with others if you think it might help them. And go ahead and take a look at our PowerPoint school on YouTube to learn more about how to use PowerPoint and to become a power user. Go ahead and take a look at some of the videos up here and over here for some suggestions. And also remember to subscribe to our videos. With that, go power up.